the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, in the person of Mr. Michael Kabute Caesar, to give us an opening prayer. Shall we welcome him?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You may stand, you may bow, whichever way you want to acknowledge His presence. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you this morning for the opportunity granted us to converge here to deliberate on issues dear to the heart of the business community and to government as a whole. We pray that you would stir our interaction, discussions with grace, and that our language and our thoughts will be well articulated, understanding one another, and taking away a lot of good thoughts for us as business people with a view to collaborating with the efforts of the authority. It's our prayer and hope that everything by way of support services to keep this meeting or gathering running will go smoothly to a conclusive end. In Jesus Christ's name, I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, the National Treasurer of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Let's put our hands together for him. We are gathered here to listen to the Commissioner General, and this program has been put together by the President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and his executives. I will quickly want to introduce the Chamber executives present, and I will introduce the Commissioner General, and with due time, I also will get the names of the other commissioners who are here so that we can equally acknowledge them. So, on my immediate right, we have the immediate past president of the Accra Regional Chamber of Commerce and Industry Chairman, Nana Ajeni Mboati. Nana, you are welcome. We also heard from the National Treasurer, Mr. Kabute Caesar. You are welcome, sir. We have the second Vice President, Mr. Alexander Biwon. Mr. Biwon, you are welcome. And then the President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Miezan Abbas. Mr. President, you are welcome. Let me quickly introduce the Commissioner General, Mr. Anthony Akwasi Sapon, who will be presenting to us shortly. You're welcome, sir. We shall call upon the President to give us his welcome address. Mr. President, shall we welcome him with a round of applause to give us his welcome address. So we also want to acknowledge the presence of our online partners. The second Vice, Madam Emilia Isiakwa, is joining us online. So is Mr. Magbedu Abuaje, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and other dignitaries who are also joining us online. Mr. President, we are all ears.
Good morning. Yesterday, when I went home to prepare for today's program, and then I was looking through my wardrobe to see what I was going to wear, then I picked something blue. While I was sitting in the waiting room, waiting for the Commissioner General to join me, there came Mr. Kwenu, who was wearing blue. And then Madame Teresa, I'm sure the name is right, Teresa, right? Also came wearing blue. Then eventually the Commissioner General came and was also wearing blue. Then I said to myself that today is going to be a blue day. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. Distinguished guests, Honorable Guest Speaker Anthony K. Sapon, the Commissioner General of GRA, members of Council, and the executive committee of the GNCCI, captains of industry, distinguished chamber members, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and especially our friends from the media who are going to broadcast this beautiful occasion for us. I must say that we are very much appreciative of your presence this morning. On behalf of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I welcome you once again, everyone for this great occasion and stakeholder engagement series, themed Time with the Commissioner General. We are honored to host the Commissioner General, Anthony K. Sapon. We also appreciate GRA's willingness to engage directly with the private sector and listen to the concerns of the business community. Today, we have gathered here for a very important dialogue to understand and to promote business-oriented partnership between GRA and the business community. A lot of times, and I have had that experience, where GRA will come to us and to our offices and our businesses, and then we may not understand them, and they may also not understand us. So today is an occasion for us to understand each other and be friends, and they continue the family business of Ghana. Mr. Commissioner, the concerns of the business community is a lot. And today we believe your presence here is going to clarify a lot of things, especially concerning delays in accessing VAT and import exemptions on raw materials, inconsistencies in the application for exemption policies, delays in issuing exemption certificate by GRA, concerns over the AI-powered Pelican tool at the port, and especially regarding high duty assessment and increasing import costs. Delays in the issuance of tax clearance certificates affecting business operation and cargo clearance. Delays also in updating tax credits on GRA portal. Let me use this occasion to give a personal experience. Not too long ago, I had the IRS division of GRA come to do an audit of my business. And when they did the audit, they came out with a figure that I owe the GRA. I owe government, not GRA, I owe government. Fortunately for me, my tax credit was more than what my assessment said. So my thought was that, okay, this is simple mathematics. I owe you, you owe me. But at least you owe me more than I have more with you than you claim for me to owe you. So I think that simple mathematics, just do the deduction, let business goes on. GRA says no. They shut my business down. They closed my offices for about 4 months. I also decided I won't pay because at least, if not for anything, I have more money with the government than the government claims that I owe. But then they kept telling me that this is the policy. Before I make any complaint, the policy is that pay a percentage of what you owe before we even start discussing. I also said, yes, even if I pay a percentage, you still owe me more than I do owe you. So I think it's simple mathematics. Mr. Commissioner General, eventually I had to write to them. It took 4 months. As I speak to you, GRA has not responded to my application for a resolution to it. Even though it has been open, I've paid part of the money, but my office has been open. But up to now, they have not responded. So this is a personal experience that I want to share with you. I think that there has been also occasions where we have members of the business community having complained about issues at the ports, and especially with the current AI that has been implemented at the ports. I'll take this opportunity to conclude, sir. As the voice of over 10,000 businesses across Ghana, the Chamber remains committed to supporting constructive engagement between government and the private sector. We believe today's discussion will help improve understanding, build trust, and strengthen partnership between GRA and the business community. We also encourage businesses present and those online as well to remain tax compliant, transparent, and cooperative with GRA. Mr. Commissioner, you see, I'm not just speaking against you, I'm also speaking against them as well, and against myself. At the same time, compliant businesses should not be overburdened by delays and operational efficiencies. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to a fruitful and productive discussions today. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Let's give it to Mr. President Abbas. He has put in for the private sector, and I'm sure after hearing from the Commissioner General, we'll be good to go. Let me also quickly introduce the other dignitaries who came with the Commissioner General. We have Dr. Martin Yaboriga, who is the Commissioner, Domestic Tax Revenue Division. Dr. Martin, you are welcome. We also have my good friend, Dr. Dominic Now. Doctor, you are welcome, sir. Then we also have with us Mrs. Teresa Potaki with us. Madam, you are welcome. She is in charge of Operations Custom Division. You are welcome, madam. Then we have Mr. Afonso Kwenu, who is the Deputy Commissioner, Post-Clearance Audit. Thank you very much, sir. As we go along, we'll be introducing the other dignitaries who are with us. At this juncture, we don't want to keep our audience waiting, both online and in-house. So we shall call upon the Commissioner General to speak to us, and I'm sure he will be assisted by his deputy commissioners as he does so. Shall we welcome the Commissioner General, Mr. Anthony Kwesi Sarpong, to speak to us.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me bring you warm greetings from GRA, and then also to thank our president and then the executives for organizing this engagement session. It's very, very important. Before we came in, I was just telling President that we are working together. And if GRA sits at its corner and the chamber also sits at their corner, we will not know each other's intentions, we don't know each other's actions. And sometimes that can even lead to having different negative thoughts. So this engagement provides us, especially at GRA, for us to share with you, our business partners, some of the reforms that we are undertaking, and also, importantly, to receive feedback from you. And President, I also like to mention particularly that this should not be like an annual affair that we will do. As GRA, we prepare to have a structure like a quarterly engagement, even if it's not with all the members, but a select group from the executive and members, where you become the mouthpiece of the entire chamber, so that issues that are bothering members and the business community, we can quickly bring them to the table and resolve together. And let me add that, forgive the sins of GRA for locking up your business. I think let's acknowledge that we are in the business of collecting revenue for the state, but that should not lead to destabilizing the very business that we are seeking to work with. And we will look into the matter. Thankfully, you are rightly seated because the man at your right hand, who is the Commissioner for Domestic Tax, it falls directly under his ambit. And then as you, just for all of us for the education, if you have tax credit, as he rightly says, the law allows you to get your credit back either in cash or offsetting it against your tax liability. So we want to be clear about that. So whatever went wrong in that sense, we'll work to educate. And anybody who is in that area or difficulty will be willing to work with you on that. So let me start by saying that as GRA, over the years, we have had engagement with the business community and also to ensure that we are working as partners. But one of the things we've told ourselves is that if we keep on sizing ourselves as tax collectors, that will tell us the position that we take. So within the last 1.5 years, we've told ourselves that we want to be a human-centered GRA. And particularly for business community, we want to see you as partners in development. And then when you are partners, you're able to sit on the table, have frank conversations, judge and make decisions benefit. So the posture, and this is how we want to reflect ourselves in your face and in your eyes. We know change is difficult and sometimes it takes time, but we are committed to work on this change so that over time we all will be working as partners and be working together to support your business, to promote your business. Because the truth is that when you succeed in your business, you grow the economy, you create employment, you make the profit, and then of course we come in and say, give a portion of that for the purpose of national development. So it is in our best interest to work with you for you to grow, to thrive better, to increase your productivity, to turn around quickly, so that in the end, the fruit, when it is split, will be a win-win for all of us, and we are committed to do that. So in that respect, we charge ourselves in terms of setting up 6 priorities that we want to be guided with. And the first one, GRA, we've charged ourselves is people and culture. We are dealing with human beings, and therefore we've started a program and reform from within, and to groom ourselves, to look at ourselves and look at some of the behaviors that are sometimes reflected to us, and to take action and to correct them ourselves, so that in dealing with the business community, we know that we can improve rather than be an obstruction. The second area, of course, as I've said, the nation can only develop with revenue. For even as we undertake reforms, we keep our eyes straight on the ball to make sure that legitimate revenue that must come to government must come in. We all know in the past, to develop the nation, have had to rely a lot on borrowed funds. The only way we can change that is if we reform and increase the opportunity for domestic revenue mobilization, so that we can reduce dependence on borrowing, and then also hold government accountable for proper use of the funds. That definitely national development. To do so, apart from the human factor, we are then embarking on, thank you very much, apologies for that. So to do so and to keep focus on the revenue, we've said that apart from reforming ourselves as the human face, we will use technology as an enabler. We all know how technology has become an important element in bringing efficiency and effectiveness in key processes across the world. And therefore, anything that we want to do and want to do it better and to throw more light, both for us as tax administrators and for business, technology gives us the opportunity for us to be. So there are a number of technology reforms that we are undertaking, and I'll quickly run you through that. And then, of course, in today's world, data has become the next oil or gold. So we are focusing on building our data so that when we are engaging, we use data which is factual and which is sacred to be able to do that. But also importantly is the public trust and confidence. If I stand here and tell you this is how we're going to engage, and you don't trust me, then we've all wasted our time. I've wasted my time, and you've wasted your time. And therefore, our words must reflect our actions. I do recognize it takes time, but it's also important that we are focusing on public trust and confidence. And that is our business community, and that's all taxpayers, that when we are engaging, you can trust us. And in that respect, we are embarking on a number of programs in terms of customer experience, in terms of tax education, to make sure that the taxpayer, they know their rights. They know what the law says their civic responsibility is. And in that respect, it will not be only the taxpayer enforcing the law, but the taxpayer or the business also know what they are entitled to. That way, we'll be on the same page. So these are the anchoring pillars of our reform. But to come to some of the most immediate ones that we are experiencing, last year we comprehensively revised the VAT Act, which came into effect in January this year. And just a quick bird's view of that, the VAT that we applied had so many elements. There were some on 3% flat rate, some on 5% flat rate. We had those that were on the standard rate. We had the levies included, COVID levy, and on top of that, we had a cascading, which simply means that we were taxing levies that were not value-driven. And the critical aspect of that was, after adding that tax, we still said it cannot deduct, which was cost to business. So I think from that perspective, through the law, we have modified this and made it a straight through input 20%, output 20%, and everybody is on the flat rate. And then, of course, we have removed the levy and removed the cascading effect so that the cost to business, which in the previous regime was estimated about 6%, and overall economy-wide was about 6.5 billion, which was cost spread across businesses, have been removed. So what we would like to do is to encourage each and every one of us to ensure that with these reforms, we are complying voluntarily with our VAT, and if you have any challenges, we'd like to work with you to make sure that its application works. But also, more importantly, we want to, as I said, from technology point of view, want to bring technology to drive the reforms in VAT. So at the moment, we are just at the point of piloting the Fiscal and Electronic Devices Act. So this is a law we passed in 2018 to automate collection of VAT. So today, we are fully aware that there are a number of businesses that either are not charging the VAT or they are charging and they are not remitting. But we believe that if we automate, we'll be able to bring everybody onto the net. And then, of course, it will give government the opportunity to even consider the rate. Today, the rate is 20. We move it from 21.9 to 20. But it's still one of the highest in Africa. We have to face it. If you look at Africa today, we are still one of the countries with the highest VAT rate. And the only way to bring it down is to get all of us who are eligible to charge and collect VAT doing so. Then we can do that. And one of the ways is through technology. So we are going to implement the Fiscal and Electronic Devices Act. What it means is that for every retail point, by law, we have to use a device to sell, which will give GRA the opportunity to know sales that are taking place in your shops, in your business, and every corner as well. And as you know, one business's sales is one other business's cost. So in the end, at the back office, we should be able to know the overall transaction volumes, which is cost or revenue to one business and the other, and be able to accurately and completely account for VAT. So this is an area we'll be doing a pilot. We'll be selecting some businesses to pilot. And President, this one will appeal to you that from among your members, you may just select 1, 2, or 3 to be part of the pilot, because we want to ensure that we are working with businesses to know how this works before we fully roll it out. So we'll do a pilot for about 3 months, and we're coming to you to ask for either voluntary self-nomination or through the executives giving us some members to be included in the pilot, so that in the end, we can know some of the challenges from your area. The other reform that we've also undertaken is in the area of the customs, which is the Publican AI. That has gone live since 11th March this year. And the real foundation of the Publican is anchored on fairness and, of course, efficiency in our port clearance process. So we noted that there was a lot of decision points that were centered a lot on human beings, either from the business side or from us officers as GRA. What that meant was that for similar businesses and for similar products, you find variations in the amounts that were assessed. And we believe that that was not a fair basis for taxation and not a fair basis to do business. So the introduction of the AI provides our officers the opportunity to have a first baseline common through assessment for all declarations, and then be able to now go into it if there are any concerns. And this is how the AI works. As you know, we are in a self-declaration regime. So once the importer or agent completes the declarations and press the button to go, the AI interface with ICOMS and pick the declarations and run through and does 4 basic checks. So 1, the AI checks whether the declaration of country of origin of the goods is actually aligned with what the declaration has been made. It will check the port of loading. And then number 3, it will check the correctness of the HS code. And then number 4, it will check the values that has been declared, and generates a report to the custom officer, either green or amber or red. So green means the AI fully agrees with all the 4 components or part of it which it agrees. And then, of course, if it is amber, certainly it's saying, well, it's not a big issue, but there's something small that you can check. And then, of course, if it is red, then the AI is saying that fundamentally I have issues either with HS code or the value. So engage with the importer so that you can clear it. And this is how the AI works. So the AI, in terms of the valuation, looks at the product that is coming, the minimum price that it has been purchased in recent times. Then you look at the maximum. So it creates a band, and then check the declaration that has been done. If the declaration is within the band, the AI gives it green, because the AI cannot tell exactly what each importer paid for. So once you are within the highest and the lowest band, the AI will just agree with you and move. If you are outside the lowest band, it means that your declaration is lower than the lowest the AI is proposing, then the AI will flag it to the officer and say, do more checks, because I've not seen this price being sold on the market. Then at that point, again, because the AI doesn't know the exact price that the importer purchased, the AI will propose the midpoint to say that in the event that you can't validate, at least this is the highest, this is the lowest, this is the midpoint that you can suggest to the importer. But the process doesn't end there. So the importer then, customs will now get to the importer to alert the agent or the importer of the fact that declarations is lower than the band or the lowest point of the band, and ask for more information. So this is what we would normally call the appeal process, which we are used to. It's the old appeal process which has been there before the Publican AI. So the team will go through and ask you to bring additional information, and sometimes they will ask you, provide evidence of maybe you went and you had good negotiation, so you have a contract, you have a LC, you've done a transfer, so they ask all this information, and if you are able to provide the information, then they can accept your values and the process closes. If they are not satisfied, the customer officer will say, we are not convinced or satisfied with the proof of the valuation, but then gives you a second opportunity. So this time, in the process of introducing the AI, we said the first process, appeal process, should not end matters. So we've created a second layer, which is made up of senior custom officers who have experience in evaluation and classification matters, who will then also sit with you and go through. But at that point, in the second point, when you come, we also go through your transaction history for 5 years, particularly your payment, and to say, okay, does your payment to your suppliers of that product compare with what you are declaring? And sometimes, so that is your actual price that you are paying. So if you are paying for it, that ought to be the price that you should be seeing in the declaration. So at that point, we will use that to actually sit down with the importer and determine which price we should do. There are also occasions that we find out that importers may be misdescribed, and therefore we agree to go and do physical examination, even if it was not originally determined at that. So my encouragement is for us to understand this process this way, and in any time as business we are not satisfied, let's go through the fair appeal process, which we are working on a standard rate of resolving it at least within 24 hours. The same day you bring it, the team is going through. So that should help us to go through that, and we shouldn't be concerned of a delay. And for the second appeal, we've also said if it gets there within 48 hours maximum, we should also close the matter. So this is the process. A range, if you fall outside the range, the AI will flag it for further investigation. If you are within the range, the AI will accept and you moved on. I hope when I finish, maybe there will be questions on it, so I'll keep on with the others. So that is the Publican AI. But we are seeing that the results are good. The results are good, one, in the sense of the efficiency with which we are clearing. If you look at the data for the 1 month, and we're seeing that our workings on declarations have improved significantly, because previously it could take us about 2 hours to run through the declarations, but the AI does the initial assessment for us in 5 minutes, so it allows our officers to be able to do that. We've also changed the initial teething problems, where when we had an issue, we go back to the agent to say correct it. We've realized there's some limitations with our agents. We need them to educate more, and therefore we've asked our customer officers to support them so that they can do corrections quickly as possible. The next area of reform which is just coming up is what we call integrated tax administration system. So this is on the domestic side. So we currently run on a system called GITMIS, which has had some challenges, and the government the last 5 years decided to build a new system called the ITAS, Integrated Tax Administration System, that can connect with our port system. So the taxpayer has a seamless account if you are an importer, right from the port through the domestic. So we don't have two systems that we are working with you, and can also interface with other government systems so that there's a 360 view of what the taxpayer is doing, and also to GRA. So this system was launched or came to life on 1st April this year, and we started with our Kaneshie tax center, and we are so far onboarded about 420 taxpayers We are working the journey with them for 1 month to know how the system is working and to deal with the initial challenges. And then, of course, we'll begin to roll it out across the whole nation. Our expectation is that by end of June, we should have covered all taxpayers in Accra on the new system. And then by end of July, we should have covered the rest of the country outside Accra. So again, President will be coming back with more education and the process of how the new migration into the new tax administration will work. But that gives us opportunity to interface our customs and ICOMs. So your data in ICOMs will seamlessly flow into this new system. So when our teams come to a tax audit, you are not going to now be asked to produce tons of information from your customs declaration. We should be able to see it through. We are interfacing with other agencies, which is Register of Businesses. We've said that we want to broaden the task and include everybody. You know, part of this government policy is not to introduce new taxes or increase rates, but to get everybody to pay their quota. And therefore, we are interfacing with Register of Companies and Registrar General's Department to ensure that every registered business and every registered company or partnership, we find you in the tax system. We are also working on the SNIT side. We know businesses or individuals who pay their pension. Pension is good, and we all want to secure our future. But when it comes to paying the tax to build the roads today, we want to dodge some of it. So again, we'll be interfacing with SNIT. So if you register with SNIT, we should also be able to find you. And for individuals particularly, we are working with National Identification Authority. President, I'll move on. So this will come back. We've started the engagement and education, but we will come back to you. And now, even as along the line, we can have your group together again so that we can have a specific session for members of the chamber. We've also vigorously introduced what we call the modified taxation. So that may not be applicable to maybe majority of you. So this is the informal taxation. In Ghana, we've always talked about our informal taxation, that they contribute about 30% to GDP. But when you look at tax contribution, it's not something to be proud of. And the reason is that over the years, we ourselves have not paid so much attention to it. So as GRA, we are now paying attention to the informal sector. And if we introduce what we call the modified taxation, so you see that from the VAT law, we intentionally said that if you're a business and your turnover is up to 750,000, we don't expect you to be getting involved in charging VAT, to make it simple. And then currently have a law which says that if your turnover is up to 500,000, then the domestic tax you pay is only 3% on the turnover. We're going to work on the law to align the two thresholds so that once we move the 500 to the 750, if you are not charging VAT automatically, you fall within the 3% threshold. This is where a lot of our informal sector, the artisans, a lot of the creative arts, and a lot of small businesses whose turnover is not above 750, we want them to be in. So you have your turnover, you only apply 3%. So assuming your turnover is 500,000, the entire corporate tax you pay for the year will be 6,000 Ghana. Then you decide to pay either monthly or quarterly. We believe it's affordable, it's simpler to such businesses. They will contribute their quota. Then eventually, when they grow above the threshold, they can come into the main formality of taxation. But we want everybody to contribute their quota to taxation. So for our businesses and small business formal sector that may be listening to us are here, take advantage of this simplicity. And we've created an app, and the app only asks you for 4 questions. It asks you, 1, your name or your business name. Number 2, your Ghana card. Then number 3, it will ask you, what is your own assessment of your turnover for the year? If you say 500,000, the system will not challenge you. It will pick it. And then it will calculate the 3% on that assessed value for you. So again, it's a voluntary declaration. And we've said that in this journey, we are not going to challenge the turnover you declare. You pay the 3% on what you declare, and then as we journey along the line, we know you grow. And when you grow, you come into the main stream. I think in terms of the areas of customs, the other areas that will be coming up is one area is our suspense regime, free zones. And I don't know whether there are some free zone entities among you present here. So we've seen that the original concept of the free zone, which was manufacturing-driven employment creation, and for that matter, businesses were given incentives to do that, has moved on into what we call the commercial free zones. And we've seen some extreme, let me not call it abuse, misuse of the privileges in the commercial free zone. So we are reviewing it. And the review is important because at the end of the day, again, it comes to fairness of taxation. So people brings in finished products, and because in their commercial free zone, they are not paying duty. But meanwhile, their counterparts who are producing the same products here are paying duty on their raw materials and paying other taxes. So there's a huge gap in terms of market distortion of prices for the opportunity, and therefore the commercial free zone we are reviewing to make sure that on fairness basis, you are not significantly advantaged compared to your peers who are manufacturing or bringing semi-products and completing the manufacturing here. The second one is also in our area of examination. I've visited the port. I've seen how human-centered it is and how long it takes. So again, we are working with the ministry to automate the process of physical examination. These days, there are mobile scanners that can do that in minutes. So we are working on it to ensure that we can automate the physical examination processes. We can finish the examination quickly for you. So that will reduce the amount of clearing time at the port. And we believe that with that efficiency, it will allow you to clear your goods quickly on time. The last other area we are talking about the port is what we call advanced duty payment. So this is optional. This is not by law. We've seen that for many businesses, when goods come in, if they don't have the working capital to pay the duty, they are putting it in bonded warehouse. And we've seen cases where goods are in bonded warehouse from 6 months to 2 years, even to the point that some get spoiled and we have to destroy. So the business person loses, government also loses. Nobody is gaining in the process. So we are working with the banks and non-bank financial institutions to create a product that an importer brings in goods and you don't have all the working capital to pay your duty. You can take a moderate facility to pay the duty so that I can have access to your goods and sell quickly, clear it, sell quickly, and pay back the loan, pay back, return back to your business and do so. This is again, President, this one area we want to also engage the executives to give more information and explanation. And therefore, importers that are in this category who are willing can take advantage of. For us, we believe that the win-win, the reason why we are facilitating this is that it's a win-win for us. It will allow importers to have access to their goods quicker, go to the market and turn around. And for us as GRA, also unlock the deferred revenue and avoid perpetually the situation where goods are kept at bonded warehouse even to the point of destruction. So we encourage you that you take advantage of these ones. In terms of the public trust and education, we are intensifying our public education. So you'll notice that over the last few weeks, every week you see either our customs officers or our domestic side going on radio and TV and speaking. It's part of the engagement and to empower the taxpayer and the businesses to know your tax civic responsibilities so that you can voluntarily comply. Because we believe that good tax education, well-knowledgeable businesses will voluntarily comply, and when they do, the cost of taxation collection is going to be lower for us all. So again, we will ask you to avail yourself to listen to some of these programs. And again, we'll be ready to come back here anytime you're meeting to take a topic in an area which is of concern to members and be able to deal with it. But most importantly, the engagement, as I said from the beginning, is partnership. And your feedback is valuable. So sometimes we hear behaviors of our officers that are not palatable, and it disturbs your businesses. Please, when you have those moments, work through the executives and let us have them so that we can resolve them quickly for you. There are certain behaviors that are also not encouraged from the authority. And again, we appeal to you. We know as Ghanaians, sometimes when you bring it up, the next morning their family is on your doorsteps that you have gone to report their son or their daughter. So in order to avoid or to have good neighborliness, and not to be accused of reporting somebody, we quietly go through pain and behaviors that we don't support. Again, our doors are open. We are working on improving our contact lines that will ensure that there's anonymity. And if you report these matters to us, we are committed to deal with them decisively and boldly so that it is part of the change process, so that in paying your tax, our human conduct should not be an obstruction. It should be a point of service. It should be a point of help to promote your business so that we can all forge ahead. So on that note, President, I want to conclude by saying that we see the chamber, we see all businesses as partners. We want to work with you and to plead with you to support us in the process and to know the reforms that we are undertaking so that together it will benefit all of us. It will benefit your businesses will grow, and it will benefit GRA in our mandate of revenue mobilization. So on that note, I end by pointing to what we've put. Know your taxes, pay your taxes, and let us build Ghana together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner General. I think we can do it better for him. Thank you. Thank you. We are grateful. So before we open the floor for questions and answers, we would also want to acknowledge some of our distinguished members who have joined us. We have Mr. Joe Jackson, who is the CEO and MD of Dealers Finance. Mr. Jackson, you are welcome. He is a member of the chamber. We also have with us Madame Florence Labi, who is the Chief Operations Officer for Zoom Lion. Madame, you're welcome. And my own sister, Fire from Zoom Lion, and as well, Sophia, you're welcome. We also have Madame Felicia Chumasi, Home Foods, the MD for Home Foods. Madame Felicia Chumasi, you're welcome. And then we also have Mr. Henry Oche, who is the chairman of Abossey-Okan Spare Parts Association. Mr. Oche, you are welcome. So we will quickly take questions and answers, and then our officers will help us with the mic. We'll take 3 questions at a time, and we go for answers. 3 questions at a time. Please let the question be very short, precise, and concise so that we will get answers as well. 3 questions at a time. So if you are ready, you can let me know by raising up your hand. The mic will come to you. We'll take 3 questions at a time. Any question? Or we have understood everything and we don't need any other question? Please, any question, suggestions, recommendations for GRA to take? Okay, all right. Please, there's a question, yes. Second one, 2, third one. Okay, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Please go.
Okay, thank you. First of all, okay, I'm Ambrose Yena, the chairman of IDEC Digital Technology. Thanks to the commissioner for a wonderful presentation on tax reforms. We are very grateful. But the point I want to raise is It's about withholding taxes. I think the president of the chamber alluded to it. Some of us have suffered from it also as well. You know, withholding taxes deducted as source to help government finance its business against the possibility that you make profits do offset. But for some time, it looks like the withholding tax is being treated as a tax in itself. So when you have withholding tax accumulate as a credit, like the president said, it is not offset automatically against any tax liability you have. So, and they will insist that you still find money and come and pay tax. And if you are in owing, then they will add penalty and other things to it. Whilst your credit is sitting there, not refunded to you, and is not attracting any interest. I think we should be able to have a situation where the net position of your account as a taxpayer, there will be an offsetting arrangement where you have a tax liability automatically, that the tax that you have accrued, credits that have been collected in advance are offset against it. So you have a net credit or a net debit at every point in time. Thank you very much.
Very much. My name is Georgina Moni, and I came all the way from Cape Coast just to ask Mr. Commissioner General my question. Please, why do service providers not have VAT threshold? When it was announced, there was a lot of excitement that thresholds were going to will go up, and production and manufacturing and all of that. And I was very heartbroken to hear that service providers do not have VAT threshold. Mr. Commissioner General, service providers' lives matter. Please, give us a threshold. And also, for the exemption last year, tax clearance and everything, we got it. We never had anything. They said we should wait. We'll get a response to our email. We never got that email. We've started this year. We've made applications. And the same thing, we should wait. It feels like a black box. We are not hearing anything, and then the year ends. And even though we are an NGO, we still have to pay CIT because our applications, we haven't heard anything from your office. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Doji Agbavada. My question is about the Publican AI system. We were made to know that the AI system is going to make declarations faster in the approval process. And as it stands now, there are some declarations that are being delayed. You submit your declarations and it takes 2 weeks, and you have to go back and forth for approval to be done. And after the approval is done, you have, if your values are being uplifted, you have to go back to appeal. But when the AI system was introduced, we were made aware that it was going to be swift. So if we have the pre-arrival system and we are supposed to pay our duties before our goods get to the port so that we can clear without paying demurrage, but we pass our declarations and we are not getting the duties to pay early, and our goods comes to the port, the declaration is being assessed, and we have to come back and appeal before we pay our duties. Where lies the swiftness in the AI system? And the second question is about, the commissioner mentioned the physical electronic devices that's going to be introduced in the shops. What about the service providers? How is that going to be affected in those rendering services. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and good morning to every one of you. So I will address some of the issues that relate to the domestic tax revenue division. So the first one has to do with withholding taxes and why it is not offsetted. The president spoke about it, and then the question also spoke about it. The work of the Ghana Revenue Authority is purely governed by tax law. And the law changes over time. Sometimes as taxpayers, we do not follow the changes that are made in the law, and then we put the blame on GRA who implement the law. Under the Internal Revenue 592, if you had an overpayment of a tax, the law gave the Commissioner General then the power to use it to offset other taxes. Then, in the Income Tax Act 2015 at 896, the 7th schedule in particular, which was brought from the at 592, gave the Commissioner General the power to set off tax. However, in the Revenue Administration Act 2016 at 915, which repealed the 7th schedule of the Income Tax Act, removed the word offsetting from the law, and then introduced application for a tax refund. That if you are a taxpayer and then you have overpaid tax, particular tax type, the Commissioner General does not automatically have to use it in offsetting your other taxes. But you, the taxpayer, you have the right to apply for a refund of that tax type. However, on application, when the Commissioner General have taken the decision to refund it to you, then the Commissioner General doesn't have the right to look at what if you owe other taxes and say, okay, because you owe other taxes, I'm not going to refund the money to you, but I'm going to set it off against the other taxes. Balance, I give it to you. And this was from taxpayers who say, why should the Commissioner General just use my money to set off? So this is what happens. When we conduct an audit, and the audit confirms you, the taxpayer, you have an overpayment, then you have a liability in another tax type. What we normally do, and I'll be glad if any of you have our audit report letters, we indicate clearly there that this is the tax liability that you have, and you have within 30 days to object to that tax liability. If you have overpayment, we clearly indicate that you have an overpayment of this amount, and you can apply to the Commissioner General for a refund. Now, we have tried to explain that as soon as you get your audit letter, and then you have a liability, and you have an overpayment, write to the Commissioner General and say, please refund my overpayment to me. And in that letter, you instruct the Commissioner General that please use part of my overpayment to set off my tax liability. Then the responsibility then lies with the Commissioner General. The Commissioner General cannot demand a full payment of your tax liability once he has not what? What taxpayer want automatically the Commissioner General should do the set off. And the law doesn't give her the power to do that because it is your right. You have to tell the Commissioner General what to do. So it is the reason why we don't automatically do a set-off. Now, it is also for the purpose of revenue accounting. When we're accounting for tax types, we need to account for how much have come in by way of each tax type. So, for example, most of the overpayment or in the nature of corporate income tax or value-added tax. Now, if you have made an overpayment by way of corporate income tax, which have already been accounted for, then you have a liability in another tax type, and then we'll do a set-off. What is going to happen is that the other tax type that have been set off against, which have not been paid for, is going to be underreported. So what the law sought to do was that let us have a full account of every tax type. So when you write, we will normally do the refund to you, but the refund will be used in paying your tax, and an official receipt is issued to you as you have paid a new tax. In that case, there is full accounting. So it is not deliberate. And I want to say that once you can trigger even the refund before the payment of the tax liability is due, it shouldn't be a problem at all. I think we need to ask our people to give you more education that it doesn't make any difference either. At the point that the liability is established, you are already immediately entitled to the refund. So once you for refund, say you offset my liability, no office can demand the full amount while the liability is there. So please, let's take note of that. Then again, on the issue of withholding, the withholding is supposed to be automatically credited to your account upon payment. What we request for is that when you are a withholding agent and then you have withheld on behalf of a taxpayer, put the taxpayer identification number in the schedule. That is the thing. Once the taxpayer identification number is in the schedule and the return is processed, then your account is automatically credited. The problem we have is that people would withhold tax and come, and they would add the accompanying tax identification numbers. And therefore, when it is processed, because you do not provide the tax identification number, it goes into a substance account because it doesn't identify who that person is. We, at one point, attempted to say that when you bring your schedule and you do not have the tax identification numbers, then the system should not allow it. But it was creating a problem because there are people who do not have tax identification number, and sometimes we need to have a balance. Do we refuse the money because you have brought about 100 names, and out of the 100, 2 people do not have tax identification number? So we have to disable the system. So what I want to encourage every one of you is that please, when you are transacting business with anybody, please demand the person's tax identification number and quote it in the schedule so that the person can be automatically credited. But we'll indicate our auditors and our officers that please, they shouldn't demand for full payment of a liability when the taxpayer has an excess payment. But then advise you to apply for it to be offset because the Commissioner General cannot do that without your express authorization. Then, exemption for NGOs. By law, the law says that it is only the Commissioner General who is supposed to depend on donations, fees, subscriptions, fundraising for their activities. But if you are an NGO and you are rendering services for a fee, then you are a commercial business and not necessarily an NGO. So it is the Commissioner General that has to make that determination that based on the activities and what you are doing, you qualify as a charitable organization. And therefore, you need to apply. What we'll do is that we'll give you annual renewal. I don't know where your decision went, but if it came to my office, I can assure you it will not take beyond 2 weeks. And you can take my word for it. If you bring anything for exemption to the head office and it's relating to NGO, ever since I took over, it doesn't spend more than office because once we look at the criteria and you are qualified, we'll willingly give to you. What I cannot guarantee is that I don't know where it was sent, and I can't tell what is the reason why they probably not responded. But please, let's do the necessary follow-up. And if you have any issue, escalate it to the head office, and I can assure you, you get a speedy response for that. So not all NGOs are exempt from tax. It is the work that you do that will determine whether you should pay tax or not, and that has to be done by the Commissioner General. Even churches are supposed to apply. So all entities are by law required to write to the Commissioner General. It is only the Commissioner General declare you as a charitable organization that you can say you are exempt from tax. If not, you are. So in the case of my sister, who said you have been paying corporate income tax, I don't know what activity you do. What do you do? Okay, so you see this is the commercial distance. So when you provide, do you charge or you don't charge?
No, don't charge.
So where do you get your money for the?
We apply for grants.
Then
then the directors, that's their passion. They want to see startup, young people, students. So most of them are students, university students. So they make donations, and then that's what they use to train.
So that shouldn't be subject to tax?
Yes. So so they've agreed. When we went to the office, we explained what they did, and they've taken all our documents. They just said we will get a response through via email, and that email has never come. To
file, to charge or to register, because somebody sent me a message and made a comment that okay, he's going to ask his shoe shine boy or his barber to register. It depends on the type of barbering shop. There are some barbering saloons or barbering shop that you go and they charge 100 Ghana cedis per haircut. Such a person should be registered for VAT. If it is the one that you go and it's 10 cedis, probably he doesn't. So we probably will need to come out further with guidelines as to the kind of service providers that we probably want them to register. But the principle is that it is much easier to be able to regulate the activities of service provider and be able to determine their income, and therefore they should register. And that is what the law says. I know sometimes for us, because we are the administrator of the law, everything is GRA. But let me make it clear that there is a distinction between policy and tax administration. Our work as GRA is to administer. Policy is done by Ministry of Finance. So when Ministry of Finance have done a policy, we have a duty to implement it. So once a policy has been determined that we want service providers to register for VAT. However, when it comes to traders or people who are into goods and services, it should be 750. All the GRA has to do is to implement the law as it is. And if there are any challenges, we'll probably compile it and make a recommendation to the policymaker, that's the Ministry of Finance, for amendment. But the law as it is now, the law says that service providers are supposed to register and pay tax. I want all of you to register. I know I've taken time, but it's an appeal that I want to make to all of us here as Ghanaians. That in our country, we have something called tax to GDP ratio. And at the moment, our tax to GDP ratio, as of last year, is about 13.5. The economy has been rebased. If we are going to calculate our tax to GDP ratio, it's going to fall below that rate. And our peers are doing about 17 to 21%. What it simply means is that many activities and many persons in Ghana who are earning income are probably not paying tax. To the extent that we have a tax gap. For VAT, the tax gap is currently 60% income tax. So all of us here, and especially those of you in the industry, I think you need to help the government and the Ghana Revenue Authority by ensuring that all persons who are dealing with you are tax registered. Once everybody is tax registered, it opens the tax net, and then government can probably reduce the tax rate, because once more income is coming, government then has the opportunity to be able to reduce. The last question is on AI, and I wouldn't be able to speak to that. So Commissioner General is an expert of AI, AI. So I want you to speak to him himself. So Commissioner, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On the publican AI, as I said, the system is previously, before we introduced the AI, took us like 2 hours. and the AI gives us the assessment in 5 minutes. So that is not in doubt. But we do recognize that there are other structural issues around the entire process of clearing goods. And sometimes we mix it up and say everything is AI. The faster the process, the better for us. Because you clear your goods faster, we are also able to collect the revenue in time. And therefore, on our side, we are continuing to be committed to ensure that where there are challenges on the appeal process, we are fast-tracking it. And that's why we've said that every area of concern, once it gets to us, within that same day, we want to resolve it. And this is how we are guiding ourselves. So again, we'll encourage you to take advantage and be in time in terms of declaration so we can work on it. But I'll let my colleagues speak a bit more on the advanced ruling process.
Thank you very much. It's only on AI. So we still have our reference price list and other tools that guide us in our assessment. And so if there is, as Commissioner General mentioned in his presentation, if there are inconsistencies or if there are queries that need to be answered, a query is sent for the declarant to answer. But there are cases where you realize that the importer name and the contact there might not necessarily be the same. And so you would have a case where there's an importer contact and then the name there is probably for the declarant or the agent. And so you send a query and the query response or prompt would go to maybe the declarant or the agent, and then the importer might not be aware. And so sometimes there is some kind of a gap in communication when it comes to the importer and then the agent processing the declaration. So I think some of these things also account for the delays. But of course, we would encourage you to always reach out. The customer service desk is always available to assist with all such issues. And if there are any queries on the declaration, so recently with Origin, for instance, there are instances where you realize that the certificates of origins that are submitted for declarations do not, meet the criteria. Or after verification, you realize that the certificates of origin are not the original certificates. And so in such instances, there is a query that is issued for such documents to be rectified or the right documents to be attached. And then also with the free zones reforms that was mentioned, sometimes you have declarations using particular CPCs that may be allowing them to enjoy some concessions or exemptions. But then when you probe the documents further, you realize that that particular goods that are being imported do not fit the particular CPC that is being declared. So in such instances, definitely a query will be raised, to address such concerns. And if those are addressed or responded to promptly, definitely the process shouldn't take you up to 48 hours. And so if there is an exception where there is any such issue, then probably it would be as a result of one of these issues. And once it's brought to our attention, I think that should be resolved in no time. Thank you.
Okay.
Just
I want
to
to
add
add to.
to
Go ahead.
Just to add to what my brother have already said, especially with the FTAs, free zone FTAs, that is a free trade area. All these certificates, that is a certificate of origin. Now, various countries does the verification. So when you attach the certificate of origin, doesn't end there. We probe it. If you are not clear on it, we verify for the country of exportation to know whether the certificate that we are attached is correct before you enjoy the preferential treatment. So if we query and ask you to get the correct certificate of origin and you don't answer, it will be there. At times we call back. We go into the system and call various, either the importer or the trader. They will not respond. If you don't respond, we can't answer your query for you. So please, note that one as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So that one I was saying for the importers that I asking is, so on the ICOM screen, there's email and phone contact for importers, the same for agents. What we've noticed is that most of the time, the agent fill both with their numbers. So it's difficult to actually get to the actual owner. So while the owner is waiting, meanwhile, the information is going to the agent. And sometimes we also notice that by the time we get to the owner, even that original information. So please, when you are dealing with the agent, ask them the field for email and importer number, they should use your contact. And there's a field for them as well. So that when we are sending information and we need the actual owner or the importer, we can get to them. But ICOMS has a feature, and I think President, another session, we want to demonstrate it. So again, we've also noticed that sometimes there are issues with the declarations and the owner doesn't know, or the owner is feeling that there's a delay. So we want to improve that facility in ICOM that the owner can see what is happening on their declarations, so that it's not just the importer saying it, but the owner must also do. So I think another forum will show that feature, so that wherever you are, you can access and know the stage of your declarations and be able to act. I think the last question we haven't answered is we said the Fed for the retailers and whether service provider, yes. So the service providers, the component for service providers will be an e-invoicing. So both service providers and retail, which is goods, are going to be part of what I call the Fed implementation. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Online, I will take three from our friends online. Please kindly unmute, introduce yourself, and ask your question. Very brief. Unmute, introduce yourself, and ask your question. Good morning.
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Can I just add mine too?
The next one, please. The next one. Please go ahead.
Dr. Lonke, I work with Kobe Technology. We are a sanitary pad manufacturing company located in northern Ghana. And my two questions here are about tax reliefs. Most especially when we go to our regional offices or we go to our local offices, we know and we've been educated that we have some tax reliefs we are supposed to enjoy from GRA. And when we go asking for them mostly at the regional offices, they end up telling us they are not those to grant us. Also, my next question is about VAT. I remember back at some years back, that was somewhere 2002, the government gave inputs that locally manufacturing part companies would not be paying some taxes with regard to importation of raw materials and also VAT. But as it stands, we pay about 20% VAT on our products. So I want to ask whether it's actually in existence, and if it's in existence, what are we to do as a company to enjoy those incentives as a local manufacturing part company? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last one online to let have the questions. Any other question online, please?
Yes, please. My name is Joel Antana.
Okay, please go ahead.
My name is Joel Antana. I'm into farming, specifically poultry, pigs, and fish farming. And I wanted to ask if there's any tax for farmers, and if yes, if you can explain it to me, and if no, how do people of us or those of us in the agribusiness get tax clearance? Thank you. That's the question.
Okay, you went off briefly, but I'm sure your question was captured. So we have the three questions.
Yeah, so the last one was if we can get tax clearance. If no, we are not supposed to pay tax. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we go for answers for the three questions, and then we come back in-house for another three sessions, and then we'll be close. So we're going for answers.
Okay. So I'll try to be brief. Yes, on the issue of holding tax, I think that the questioner had admitted that the person who is our withholding agent have deducted the money by having paid to GRA, and because of that, the withholdee cannot benefit from it. Yes, so it will be very difficult for GRA to know that a person we have appointed as an agent have withheld tax if the person haven't paid to us. So what should the withholdee do? Once you have suffered withholding tax and you have been paid, and the withholding tax deductions have not, we'll be glad if you can alert us. Then we can follow up to the agent and then collect the money. Other than that, we wouldn't even know that the agent have paid. So please, just let us know that you have suffered a withholding tax of a certain amount, and then we can do the follow-up to our agent, make sure that the amount is paid. Sanitary pad manufacturers and tax reliefs. Yes, the law called the Income Tax Act had provisions for manufacturers. So we have it in different categories. So manufacturing companies that are located in Accra and Tema will pay the normal tax rate of 25%. If you are a manufacturing company and you are located outside Accra and Tema by any of the regional capitals, you are given a tax rebate of 25%. That means that you pay 18.75%. If you are outside the regional capital, you are supposed to pay 12.5%. Then also, we have tax exemption to agro-processing. Now, someone have asked whether we have, okay, you also asked about the semi-knockdown. The VAT law have been reformed, and anything that is not found in the first schedule to the VAT Act is no longer exempt. If it is in the first schedule, then it's exempt. But if it's not found in the first schedule, it's no longer exempt. Do we have tax incentive for farmers? Yes. So we have tax incentive for persons who are engaged in farming business, and they will also have it in categories. So if you are into farming, you are given 10 years tax holiday. However, during the period of tax holiday, you'll be made to pay only 5% of your chargeable income as tax. If you are into tree cropping, you are given, depending on the type of tree cropping, crop is different, but tree cropping also given 10 years. If you are into livestock, piggery and others, you are given a tax holiday of 5 years. So we have tax holiday for all categories of farmers, including people who are into agro-processing. And beyond the tax holiday, the law also allows you to carry forward losses for 5 years. If you have made losses, you can carry forward losses for 5 years. So these are incentives that government have provided under the law to encourage people to set up in rural areas and also to go into farming business. Please, if you need any further explanation, kindly contact any taxpayer service centers, and then we'll provide you more details. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the next question, please. Who's helping us? 3 questions were asked. No, so 3 questions are. So take the house again. So we have 1, and then Southern ambassadors 2. Any other?
Okay, so my name is Mrs. Naomi Akita Inos, and I work for Madison Shipping Agency in Tema. And we have a little issue when it comes to UCL. That's the uncleared cargo list. Formerly, it was done at Tema, but recently it was taken to head office. We battled with it for some time, and then later on it was brought back to Tema. And now it's gone back to head office again. Sometimes tagging these items when let's say your things are gone to the library and you're already in the process, and then because it has gone for library and it takes some time there, the procedure has become very cumbersome. By the time it comes back or the result comes back from the lab, the cargo is already tagged to the UCL. I'm asking the commissioner if there's a need or if a help that you can bring back the UCL back to Tema so that you don't go to head office back and forth. And sometimes it takes so many days. By the time your clearance, your document is ready, you are already having some demurrages and rent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Godwin Asumate. I work with a construction company. So my first question is, why does GRA still require us to pay outstanding taxes before issuing tax clearance certificates when the government has not paid us for our work done? And also, some government agencies withhold taxes but they have not paid to the GRA. So that's my first question. My second question is, as a construction company, it is difficult to withhold the artisan who work for us. But when GRA comes for audit, they subcharge us and also give us penalty to pay for not withholding them. So what is GRA doing about it? Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Emmanuel. I'm from Contiva Africa Tech Company. So we are here to also know the problems of both this, the GRA and Ghana National Chamber of Commerce, so that we can partner with them and help them with their problems when it comes to the tech side. Thank you.
So we have the 3 questions now. Please, if you can get answers, and then we go online again for another 3. We're going online after the answers. All right. If you repeat the 3rd question.
Okay. It's not necessarily a question. So it's to know the problems and how best a tech company like Contiva Africa can partner with both GRA since they are going digital and Ghana Chamber of Commerce since they are also going digital, how we can partner with them and help their workload.
So it's a contract CCA. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. On the issue of UCL, being at Tema and then at head office, there are 2 offices which deal in uncleared cargo. The UCL simply is uncleared cargo list. There are 2 offices which deal with uncleared cargo, the state warehouse and the auction unit. Now, there's a thin line between the activities of the state warehouse and then its transfer to the auction unit. what happens is that when goods exceed the free period that they are supposed to enjoy at the port, they automatically move to the state warehouse as uncleared cargo. They remain there until they are listed. When they are listed, it means they are being prepared for auction. At that point, the department which is in charge of that activity is the auction unit. So you would ordinarily have to process your transactions at the state warehouse until they become listed. Once they are listed, the state warehouse loses control of that activity because we are going to gazette them for auction. And therefore, to ensure that there is no conflict where one person gives an authorization and then the other one is countering that authorization, we have to make do with this movement. However, I can assure you that we have come to a certain arrangement that from next week, all goods which are actually not yet listed would remain in Tema. The state warehouse will deal with them until they are listed. So once it comes to head office, it means that you have lost the opportunity to clear those goods at the port. Now you would have to look at the auction procedure. Thank you very much.
Okay, I will take the question on tax clearance certificate, and the commissioner can take the partnership on the tech. So, as the name suggests, tax clearance certificate is a certificate that is issued by the Commissioner General to a taxpayer, indicating that you have fulfilled all your tax obligations, or you have made certificate. Currently, it is GIA do not even do it. You go to your taxpayer portal, and then you go to request for a tax clearance certificate. Once all the boxes are ticked, the system automatically issues it to you. However, if there is anything that relates to non-compliance, either a tax have not been paid, a return have not been filed, or something have not been done, the system will not allow you. Now, what do we do to contractors who work for government and they have not been paid, and as a result of that, they have outstanding? Normally, with such cases, we expect the taxpayer to approach the GRA for a payment arrangement. We'll give you a payment plan. And then once we give you a payment plan and input into the system that even though you are owing, you have made satisfactory arrangement to pay the tax, the system will allow you to be able to process the tax clearance certificate. Other than that, you cannot. In fact, because it is system-based, even if you go in and it is one CD, you cannot print a tax clearance certificate. The system will not allow you. You have to clear that one CD. And I think it is better so that it is not left in your hands to make sure that you are compliant. My advice to you as taxpayers is that don't wait until you need a tax clearance certificate. Visit your taxpayer portal and then find out whether you are compliant or not. So any problem that is there, you address it ahead of time. But if you wait until you probably have some hours to submit a bid and then you need a tax clearance and you go, the system say no. You go to GRA and GRA say because you haven't paid. Don't forget that a revenue target to meet. So if you come to me that you need a tax clearance certificate and you're owing me, I would definitely ask you to pay me before, because when you get a tax clearance, you may not come back to me. So I would demand for the money. But if you had approached me earlier, we could have come to a gentleman agreement as to how you to settle that amount. Then we can put it into the system. When you go to print a tax clearance, the system will allow you. Engage us as much as you can, and let us work together, and it makes life simple for you and for us also. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the other point was the tech service and collaboration. So is actually a public institution. So you can submit your company profile, and when there's an opportunity, we'll certainly contact you. But also you can also work through the president and we'll get it. Thank you.
So we are coming online again. Our friends online, kindly unmute and ask your questions. Hello? Yes, please go ahead. Kindly unmute and ask your question.
Hello, please, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please, my name is Godwin, and I'm with Jincasco. Please, regarding the agro-processing exemption, please, I needed some clarity regarding that. For instance, if you are a cashew processing company, a new one for that matter, do you enjoy this tax exemption, and what is the process before you can enjoy the exemption? And also, during the period of the exemption, can you apply for a tax clearance certificate or a formal note from the GRA for administrative purposes? These are my questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next one. We are taking online. Next question from our friends online. Please kindly unmute and ask your question.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Maureen, and I know in the previous regime we had young people getting tax-free for the first 3 to 5 years if you were under 35. But want to know whether this policy is still being implemented. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Last question, friends online, and then we come back to the house. Last question, friends online.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I'm an lecturer in Brisbane, calling from President Logistics. Please, I wanted to find out from the commissioner if they can assist us. Formally, we have a decentralized valuation system where all landholders have access to trade facilitation procedure. So we are pleading with them if they can still assist us through those procedures because the delayance at the CTSB is very high. If they can assist us with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have our 3 questions online. So, Mr. Commissioner General, if you could help us answer. Thank you.
So what the member is talking about is that we recently centralized what we call the CTSB, that's the evaluation team. So previously, these teams were scattered across the country and with different command structure and leadership. So the standard of application or SOP could be different when you are in Tema, could be different when you are in Takrady, could be different when you are in Elubo or Paga. So what we've done is to standardize that and to bring the entire team under one command. The beauty is that we are all working through ICOMS, and we can access ICOMS everywhere. So the teams have been aggregated at the center in Accra as a center of excellence for classification and valuation. One of the things we have received feedback is that when importers or agents visit some of the other border posts, they have no one to speak to. So we are going to change the model to make sure that there are contact persons at the border to receive your feedback. But as for working through the declarations, the person need not be at the border post to work through it, because once they are in Accra, they can access everything that has been placed on ICONS. But we'll give you contact persons so that if there are concerns and you feel that by calling you are not seeing a human being, at least by talking to a human being at the border post, you may feel relieved and also get your concerns cut across. So this is the modifications that we're doing to the process we recently introduced.
So the next question is, what do I need to do to assess the relief granted to people who are engaged in agro-processing? You just have to register with the Ghana Revenue Authority and indicate for businesses you are doing. Once it is provided by law, it is automatic. You don't need any further. So once you have registered with GRA and you have indicated that you are into agro processing, automatically apply the rate as the law determines. With young entrepreneurs, yes, there is a tax relief for young entrepreneurs who are engaged in manufacturing, horticulture, ICT, tourism. Definition of young entrepreneur is a Ghanaian who is not above 35 years. And if you are a Ghanaian and you own your own business in this category and you are not above 35 years, you qualify for the exemption. You have 5-year tax holiday, and after the 5-year tax holiday, you have a reduced tax rate to pay. We grant it on a daily basis. So when you submit it, it will come to the head office, will require your documents, your Ghana card, other information to be sure that you follow the range. And once you qualify, we give to you. Sometimes we'll get letters and recommendation from the Youth Enterprise Agency. And then once you have those documentations, we also grant to you. So it is available for all young entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have some questions online, and I sent them to Mr. Queno. Apparently, have all been answered. They have all been answered. So all the questions that we received online, they have all been answered. We are coming in-house to take the last set of questions, and then we'll be having a networking. So all the commissioners are here with us. They will be answering your questions. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but for time, we may not be able to exhaust all. So during the networking lunch, we'll be engaging and we'll be asking more questions. So the last set of questions, and then, yes, sir, number 1, any other? Yes, second vice. Number 3, any other? Okay, yes, all right. So we have 3 for now, and then we'll be bringing the session to an end. We'll be engaging informally during the networking line. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Louis from LCC Investment. When the Commissioner General was giving this presentation, he indicated that a system is being developed where if an importer brings in goods and is such that they are unable to pay the amounts they are to pay before they clear their goods, a payment arrangement will be structured. And I felt that that's a very good system, and it's eventually going to scrap instances where we're going to have auctioning of items. But a response to a question earlier asked indicates that probably the auctioning system is rather going to be expanded. So I wonder if that can be reconciled, that explanation, be made clearer. Thank you.
Good morning. Okay, good afternoon. It's good news to know from the Commissioner that withholding credits are retrievable. So thank you very much for that. My first question is, can your system correct agents who, for whatever reason, would not want to put on the names of the importers? Can your system correct that so that you impress on them to put on the names of the importer so that for situations like that we can deal with it easily? And then the second one is it also possible to be transparent with us during the generation of an IDF that will permit you to pay money outside for your goods? For example, if the goods are goods that attract high duty for, say, 100,000, and then I'm a businessman, I'm going into this business, is it possible for the AI to open up the portal for you to know in advance that these goods, when you bring it in, the duty is going to be so much? So that if you are not in a position to raise resources to pay for the duty, then you can advise yourself immediately. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Edmond, and I would like to take opportunity to thank the leadership of National Chamber of Commerce for this proactive engagement. I'll also appeal to the Ghana Revenue Authority to engage us more on this. This has been a very educative section, and I will encourage them to take the proactive decision and to be engaging a lot of business so that we'll be able to understand them better, and then together we work together. This is my appeal. Thank you.
All right. So we go for answers. The last one was an appeal, and I'm sure Commissioner General has accepted it gracefully. So we'll take the two questions, and then the President will give his closing remarks. We'll do the informal discussion.
Thank you very much. So the first question was, how do we reconcile the advanced duty facility and auction? So auction process, from our point of view and from the business point of view, should be minimized. Because when you go through an auction, the importer or the owner loses the capital of bringing the goods. And we focus on recovering the taxes for the state. So ab initio, auction is a loss maker for the importer. And that's the reason why we've seen that sometimes the reason why it goes to auction, and even the auction takes about 90 days, and 3 months, the importer is still not claiming is that they don't have the funds to pay. So the advanced duty facility allows you to access the credit from a bank or non-bank financial institution. The amount is paid to GRA, and then your goods can be cleared. In that case, you avoid going through the auction process and losing the value of your capital for which you would have invested in the goods. Then I think the other one is the names of importers on the profile. So we'll go into that process and come out with a program to ensure that we can have a correct update of profiling of importers, because it's so important that besides the agents, when we need to get to the real owner importer, we have access to. And sometimes we are caught up in a process where the agent is the master data holder. And when you want to get to the importer, we are struggling. And by the time you get to the importer, I get to know the importer is also frustrated at the other side and saying that it is GRA. So we'll work with you to ensure that we can eliminate these bottlenecks. Then we talk about, the question is, if you are bringing goods, how do you know the duty that you can? So that actually is not in the domain of the AI. It's within the domain of what we call the advanced ruling process that we have introduced recently. So if you are unsure and you have any doubt and you are going to import, you apply to us and say, GRA, this is what I intend to be bringing in. We'll go through the classification with you, we'll go through the evaluation with you, and give you a high-level sense of the estimate of duty. So before you import or you make the decision, you know what the duty is. And secondly, you can plan for it. So before the goods arrives, you can plan and make funding available. And even when you don't have, you can again access the advanced duty facility. So the advanced ruling takes care of that, and we encourage all of you or many of you to take advantage of, so that even before your goods arrives, you know the amount of duty you are going to deal with. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we've exhausted all the questions. Okay, if we have, let's welcome the President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Stefan Abbas Mezan, to give us his closing remarks.
from the morning to afternoon. As I close, there are a few remarks, a few things I noted down, and I want to appreciate GRA for that. But before that, Mr. Commissioner, my MC did not give me the opportunity to ask a question, but I'll ask my question now that I have the microphone. We realize that the world is moving from brick and mortar shops to online sales. As you have introduced AI that allows GRA to identify, import, and so that you can tax them, can I advise or request that introduce a system that is put on internet so that people who do sales on internet also pay tax? Because there are a lot of people who are selling on the internet, and then I do not know how they pay tax, but the same person who will be selling the shoe or a shirt in the shop is recognized and pays taxes. That takes me to an experience where, because of what I do, I do real estate, that's my daily occupation. And where I purchase blocks to do the construction, the man once called me and said, Mr. Abbas, so they recognize him and then he has to pay taxes because it's a business, well registered. But right in front of my house, opposite, there's this guy who also produces blocks with shovel and then the formwork. And he sells a lot more than the person that supplies me the blocks. And so my question is that if that guy is paying tax because he's recognized, and this man who is just across my house, who doesn't have a registered business, whether I know whether it's registered or not, but it's informal, how is he being recognized? So let us bring systems that everybody is recognized so that everybody contributes to national development. Having said that, let me appreciate you for the innovations that you have brought into us, recognizing that people and culture is important. Revenue mobilization for our nation is very important. Applying technology and also building data for our country. Most importantly also, the tax education. I think that it has been awesome and all of us agree that this has been a great occasion. But Mr. Commissioner, while you're speaking, one thing you didn't recognize the Chamber of Commerce for is our effort and our contribution in ensuring that VAT was reformed. Please, let's clap for the Chamber of Commerce. There's something that you requested, and I want to offer myself as the first person, is that, this is what I wrote, electronic POS. I think that you said they are bringing a system where electronically every shop will have something. I have a good friend, Mr. Ahmad. Please, let's clap for the only brain in the house. He is a friend that I met, and he has encouraged me to go. I do real estate, but he has encouraged me to go into trading. And I've decided that I'll go into trading. So, Mr. Commissioner, I'll use my shop as a test case, as you're requesting that we should do this thing. So, being the president of the chamber, I'll use my new business into trading as one of the organizations that will offer ourselves for you to use that electronic POS to do the test run. And then also encourage other members to come on board. I think that you have also given us a good explanation as to the publican AI, and then I believe that members present, and both online, present and online, are well educated on the features and the use of the publican AI. I'll give a short story. Once upon a time, I was in China, and I wanted to buy a vehicle. I was interested in a vehicle, so I asked my agent to inquire about a vehicle and give me the price, so if I could afford and buy it. And then she came back to me and said the price of the vehicle was $127,000. That was in China, not in Ghana, if I was buying the car in China. So my eyes popped, and I went to her like, Christy, China, car, $127,000. And Christy came back to me and said, look, Mr. Abbas, we are Chinese people. We deserve good things. I'm saying this to a point where you have said that you are putting in systems where every Ghanaian will pay a tax. I believe it is so. We are Ghanaians, and we deserve good things. I think that those good things can only be achieved for our nation if all of us contribute to ensure that taxes are paid, our government can have enough revenue to provide us the hospitals that we need, the good roads that we deserve, and the good education systems that every nation and every citizen of our nation deserves, so that we don't find ourselves traveling to places that we believe has the greener pasture, while the greener pasture is actually under our feet. Mr. Commissioner, let me take this opportunity to also thank you that you've mentioned that you are working with the financial institutions such that when importers bring their goods, they can clear them, use them to process their, for their processing or manufacturing so that it does not stay in the warehouses. Eventually, everybody loses. If he's not able to clear, the state loses, the importer loses, the consumer who would have consumed that product also loses. So we thank you very much for that initiative. I think that when you came to sit by me, I told you I was going to joke with you a little bit. While you're speaking, I came to believe that I was asking myself, this money, and then Nebusha for Okaishi for and I said Bibisa. What I meant is that I realized that you have brought the issue of service to the GRA as a service. You have brought human face to it. As I was sitting in the middle, Dr. Martin, because of my complaint, I just issued a text to somebody, and then they gave a response. That means that effectively, that means that effectively they are listening to us, taking our notes, and ensuring that at least answers are provided to us. So, yes, that means that you are bringing a human face to the service that you provide as a tax collector. Having said that, let me take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. Commissioner, yourself and your team, all those who have joined us today, for helping us to know our taxes. We want to commit that we are going to pay our taxes so that we build a better Ghana. Again, let me take the opportunity to thank the national executives who have also supported me to make this occasion a great one. Let me thank you, especially our participants all over Ghana, watching online, in person, who have been here today to participate in this August occasion. Last but not the least, I want to thank my staff, led by Mr. Amarko and his team, who has put such a great show together. And lastly, before I take my seat, please, let me thank myself for being with you. Thank you so much.
The led with President Abbas. Thank you very much, Mr. President. We have accepted the request by the Commissioner General to be engaging more. And so a date will be communicated to the Commissioner General and members will be duly informed. We will call upon Mr. Daniel Osei-Togbo, who is the head of special project on trade, to give us the closing prayer. Then we'll take a group photograph with all the commissioners present and the members who join, and then we'll go for a networking lunch. So please do not be in a hurry to leave. Let's welcome Mr. Daniel Osei-Togbo for the closing prayer.
Thank you. Shall we please bow down our heads for prayer? Our Father, Lord, we thank you for a successful program. We thank you for giving us the opportunity to interact, to God Almighty, with the head of GRA, and what a fruitful interaction it has been. We pray that you bless our businesses as we go from here. You bless us with the understanding to be able to execute our businesses to the highest level and also be able to fulfill all our tax obligations. We pray the authorities as well that you will also help them to understand the business that we do and also accord us with the requisite support that we need and the right policies to make
the business environment friendly. As we leave here, we pray that you take us to our various homes and offices and keep us till we meet again. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So we shall call upon the President and Commissioner General. They will take the first pictures, and then the other commissioners will join. Then all the members gathered here will also join us. Mr. President, if you can please step forward for us, Mr. Commissioner General. So, Chamber Executive, kindly get ready to join the President. Yeah, if you can come up. Chamber Executives, President, kindly get ready to join the President and the Commissioner General. And then the commissioners here will also join the team. Then all members will join. National Executive, please kindly join. National Executive, please join. Please kindly come over. The lady is currently online. Yes. Okay. But we have to sandwich the president. So then, yeah. Alex, come this way. All right. Okay. Please go ahead. Please, GRA commissioners, my good friend Dr. Nab, Dr. Martin, Mr. Kwenu, please kindly join them. Yes, that's what we wanted to do. Please, all the GRA commissioners, please kindly join. GRA commissioner, please join. Only one lady. Sophia, join them. Kindly join us so that Sophia, join us. No, two of you can join so that we can also. Home Foods, Madam, kindly join us. Home Foods, Mrs. Felicia Chumasi, Madam, kindly join us. Just a second, Madam will join us. It's becoming an all-male affair. We don't want that. Madam will join us. Okay. Okay, please kindly step down first, then the rest. Please, members of the chamber, the general members here, kindly join us upstage. So please stand here, and then the rest will be joining us. So all the dignitaries after, please kindly come down. The rest of us will be coming up. Please kindly come up. Let's have a group photograph. Please, all of you kindly come up. Let's have a group photograph. Please come up, let's have a group photograph. Yeah, you can. Those of you climb up, please kindly climb up. Let's have a group photograph so that we can capture everybody. Let's capture everybody, let's capture everybody. All of you kindly climb up. Climb up, climb up. Daniel, let's have more chairs. Let's have more chairs so that those in front can sit down. So we can also. But can we get everybody? Please, Mr. President, can we bring the chairs a little bit back? Otherwise, those on the podium are too far from Please kindly bring your chair, Mr. Commissioner. Yes, back, just a little back. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. But let it align, let it align. Okay. We shall have the media interactions. The president of the chamber, and then media interactions, and then there will be networking lunch. So please don't be in a hurry to leave. There will be a networking lunch. Don't be in a hurry to leave. Thank you. So you can come up. Or you want to be here? You can come up. Take me one with the Commissioner General. Have you forgotten the Commissioner General is my old friend? He's there. Someone is there.